Morning, Lexi Odds, Raptor Freak here. Wednesday morning, the Raptors are playing their second game of the 6-game road trip against the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio today. It's a game that could be in the history book, possibly, if San Antonio wins. And we don't want that tonight. We don't want to become part of history, which is Coach Greg Popovich's all-time most coaching victories in NBA regular seasons. Yeah, he's tied with Don Nelson right now. They beat the Lakers in an embarrassing game for the Lakers the other night to get the tie. And now they only need one more. And he's going to be the all-time winningest coach in NBA regular season history. And, the Raptors have been a part of history in different ways with our championship, but we've also been a part of history with Kobe's 81 game. Oh, yeah. So this would be similar to that kind of thing. We just don't want to be that team for this. Let this be another team, the next team on their schedule or something like that. It doesn't need to be us. And I'll tell you why. It's because the Spurs have been losing just like we have lately. In fact, in their last 5 games, we've won 2 of our last 5, and they've only won 1 of their last 5. And that was that Lakers game. And they've been losing to teams like Sacramento. So we really need to win this game tonight against San Antonio. We beat them here in Toronto already this year once. We can beat them again tonight. That sweeps the season series. And that's just what we want, because we've been losing too much lately. We got to get back on the winning side of the column, and this is a great game for it. And one of the things I'm already hearing today is that Fred VanVleet is probably going to play. And I know I said this on Sunday, and he didn't play in the Cleveland game, and that sucks. But there's a lot more things that point to the signs that he is going to be available and out there tonight. They had a full practice yesterday in San Antonio, and he was fully participating. And that is always a good sign for these kind of things. So I think that we'll get Fred back tonight, which will be a huge boost in our chances to win this game tonight, obviously, because Fred has been really gravely missed in a lot of different ways. We know that he is the one who keeps us calm and steady and keeps us going with our offense. He's the one who's finding people. He's the one who's figuring out the pace of the game and trying to set it himself to benefit the Toronto Raptors. And that's who we need right now. We've seen games where we've been behind and made late game pushes to try and come back, and we just haven't measured the game out right, managed the game right, and that's what Fred does for us. He figures out when we need to go to make sure we put enough water in there to get the W by the end of the game. And we've lacked that kind of sense of urgency and figuring that out in the games recently. That there was too much, not enough, like right at the end to make it over the hump. And Fred is one of these guys who understands the hump of trying to make it back, and he can do it and execute it. That's a big reason why our win total is so good this year, is because Fred has been healthy for most of the year, and he's helped guide us to a lot of these games. Now, let me look at your injury report real quick for you guys. With the San Antonio Spurs, Romeo Langford is already ruled out for today. I think he got hurt in that Lakers game recently. Lonnie Walker is probable for tonight. Devin Vassell is also probable, is his groin. And then Keita Bates Diop is doubtful for tonight. So they're pretty much at full strength. They've been playing. Lonnie Walker doesn't play. Vassell doesn't play. Then they're not. But they're both probable. So that probably looks like they will probably play, is what I'm saying here. And then on our side, our injury report is still there. Fred is still questionable for now, but like I said, the signs are pointing to him being back. Malachi Flynn is out for at least 10 days, is what they're saying, due to his left hamstring being strained in that game the other night. And David Johnson is out also right now, and OG Anunoby, of course, sidelined with the broken finger. I hate that. Because I could go in a whole spiel about how OG is so important to help us win also. But hopefully he'll be back sooner than later, and hopefully Fred is back tonight for sure. I don't know. Let me see. Let's do the real mascot matchup. All right, Tom Duke. Listen, the last time we saw the Raptor, he was walking down a highway, and he's pretty casual about it, not really giving a shit, and he wasn't paying attention. And a big old semi truck that was driving out of Cleveland came and nailed him in the back and pushed him right off the side of the road, just like how he kicked a piston to the curb the other day, and it didn't really work that well. He got hit to the curb by that big semi because he was just a little too careless and too cavalier with how he was acting. So now he's laying in the ditch again. Why does the Raptor keep ending up in the ditch? Well, it's because the Raptor gets beat down sometimes by life. And life is that road that he walks along called the NBA regular season. Yeah. So now he's in the ditch and he hears a little jangle walking down the side of the road coming up near him, and it's on a horse. And he hears a jangle, and it's a cowboy on a horse. And you can hear his spurs kind of jangling around as he clomps down the road. He's like, "Howdy, partner. What are you doing there in the ditch there?" And the Raptor, he doesn't talk, right? Because it's the Raptor mascot from the Raptor games. And he's just like the same kind of like weird character that he is at the Raptor games, dropping TVs and doing crazy stuff with the crowd. And he's like, he doesn't understand why he's there, because what's happening to the Raptor is he keeps blacking out. Like if you've ever blacked out because you drank too much, well, this is what's happening to him, basically, how he feels about this. Because he doesn't know what the fuck's happening. Because he gets hit by a truck, he gets knocked out, he gets back up, he doesn't know what's going on. So the cowboy says, "Well, I'm going to help you. Let me help you get out of this ditch real quick." And he holds out his hand to him. And the Raptor's thinking, should I trust this cowboy who's trying to help me out of this ditch? Or should I just like say, "Nah, I'll just lay here. Thanks. That's good enough." But no, he actually reaches out and takes his hand. So here we go. Here's that moment. Will the Raptor regret taking the help from the cowboy on the horse? Or will he get out of the ditch and feel better and get down the road some more? Stay tuned and find out the next time on the Real Mascot Matchup. We'll see what happens to the Raptor after tonight. All right. So other stuff just in general right now that's going on. There's a lot of other things going on with other teams that are interesting right now, whether it's different teams are sliding, different teams are having injuries and different things. This whole Russell Westbrook situation is really interesting at this point. The thing about Russell Westbrook is he is an amazing player. He is a great player in the history of the NBA. And I argue that he doesn't belong in the NBA 75, even though he averaged a triple-double in a season, because he has tarnished his legacy. This point is being fully exposed that Russell Westbrook is an egomaniac, and he has lost touch with reality. He does not understand who he is and what his place is in this world. And I'm not saying that he's going out of bounds with his thing. It's just that sometimes when you get to a certain point of talent and level of everything, you lose touch with reality. And what's happened with Russell is that he is unteachable. He is unplayable, and he is unworkable with. Because this guy is not going to change his ways. He's going to be a bad teammate to people. He's not going to play right. He's not going to help the Lakers. And we're seeing what he's been for a couple years, actually. He was this in Washington. He was this in Houston. It's the same shit, is that he takes away from a team. And that his arrogance and the way that he thinks about himself is a blind spot to seeing all this. And at this point, I understand why he's upset with the fans for calling him Westbrook and like all this stuff, but get a thicker skin. Because honestly, if you're upset about being called Westbrook, then don't shoot bricks. Michael Jordan would take that, kind of diss, and he would use it as fuel to make sure that he played at a level where they couldn't talk shit about him. So Russell, you're not making the changes to your game where people cannot not be critical of you. And you know what? The things that Magic said about you are true. That you may be one of the worst trades in the history of the Lakers. And that may hurt. And now he's backpedaling. He's trying to be nice and saying nice things about you to try and make you feel better and stuff like that. But at this point in your career, how long have you fucking played in the NBA? Why do you need to be coddled? Why do you need your ego stroked so heavy when you're not even producing? The Laker fans are right to give you the business. And you know what? You're a pro. You should be much tougher than this by this point in your career. So, I've lost a lot of respect for you in the last couple of years, and I'm losing more this season. There's my little Westbrook there. Click to AM saying Russell needs to control what he can control. He's caught up into what people think of him instead of focusing on his own game. Click is so right. That is exactly kind of what I was just saying. You want to control things, control your game. Go out there and play at a high level, help the Lakers win. And you have the kind of game that should be helping the Lakers win because you're an all-round talent in different ways. You can rebound, you can shoot, you can score, and you can pass when you decide you want to. But there's something about your personality. There's a blind spot in your life that has really hampered your career, and you're in a lot of things that are going to happen to you now because of this. Because at this point, you can't stay on the Lakers, and nobody in the NBA wants you on their team. Nobody. Maybe you can go to Sacramento and whittle away the rest of your good years as an athlete in that team losing. That's about all I see, because nobody's going to take a gamble on bringing you in for the money that you have for that. You are untradeable at this point, and you're in a stalemate with the Lakers. You're not going to be able to go anywhere. So this is a mess. This is a mess. You're going to hurt this franchise for years to come, and that's why the fans are giving it to you, Russell. That's why. Click saying, can't control the people who make comments on social media. What does he want to do? Shut down Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? I know. And listen, maybe this is a good learning lesson for your children, Russell, that you can show them an example of how to deal with this kind of bullshit in your life. That you need to maybe still bring them to the game and let them know, instead of being so overly sensitive, because you're going to pass down the bad traits of yourself to your children because the way you're acting right now. So it's like ownership and responsibility for what's happening in your life. Take ownership and responsibility for it, Russell, and show that to your children, and that will be a much better role model for them than what you're doing right now. That was just my little bit, because Russell's been so much in the news right now with what's happening in the Lakers and stuff like that. And I really do feel like they're not going to fix this, that he's going to hurt LeBron's chances to get a championship in his twilight years of his career, just because he's going to be stuck on a team with him because of roster reasons and salary reasons. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm not upset because I don't want the Lakers to be good. I don't want them to win championships. So yeah, this is great. And that's why I believe guys like Russell and James Harden, they ultimately cause problems on their team. And that's why they're never, ever going to win NBA championships. The two of them, specifically, those two individuals will never, ever win an NBA championship. So Philadelphia, you think about that now with your new acquisition. I know things are nice and golden and pretty in your honeymoon season right now. You guys are winning games. You're playing well. But wait till the honeymoon's over, and you can see what you're going to get then. Oh, yeah. All right. I mean, I don't want to go super long today. I know this is really short, actually, for me. This is only about 13 minutes. Click, you're here. Anybody else that's here want to talk about any subject that's going on with the Raptors, the NBA right now? Let's do it. Hey, we can talk about whatever. You guys want to talk about the Batman movie? Talk about whatever. I said I'd go a half an hour today, but if I can't fill the content for that, why not just log off? A nice quick preview. Everybody can just go watch it real quick and go about their day. I mean, all right, let's talk about keys to victory then. That's what I should talk about. Listen, the Spurs are a big team. They're playing big. They're young. They're a youth movement. Jakob Poeltl is a badass. Like, honestly, he's a big guy that we can't control in some ways. We need Kem Birch to match up with him really well with his length and body him up, because the last time we played the Spurs, Poeltl killed us on the offensive boards. He was all over there and he was operating. He was able to make shots and do whatever the fuck he wanted because we didn't put any physicality on him. We didn't put any length in between him and the basket. I'd love to see that difference tonight, that if we can do that. Now, another thing that's going to be different about the game tonight compared to the first time we played the Spurs is Murray's going to be available. Murray didn't play against us the first time we played, and he is obviously their best player, their all-star, their up-and-coming, crazy, great point guard who is putting up amazing stats. So obviously, without OG out there, that sucks, but we're going to have to do a good job trying to contain DeJounte Murray, because that dude is a badass. He is somebody that can go off and win games single-handedly himself. This guy is like a young Russell Westbrook to me, is what he's looking like to me right now. Oh, yeah, when Russell was good still, when Russell was still his thing. So I don't need to keep coming back to Russell. We know that he's on the decline athletically, and that is part of the problem with what's happening with him. He's not in tune with what's happening with his game and his age. Click 2am saying Batman was amazing. Okay, so you went and saw it, Click. I've heard good things about it so far. There's different issues and things like that with the movie. I know they keep rehashing Batman over and over again. To me, I'm a big, huge fan of the old TV show. I was a little kid. I used to love watching it. So Adam West is kind of always Batman to me. But then if I had to pick somebody after that, it would have to be Michael Keaton, just because that Batman movie that came out in 1989 was just such an important part of my teenage years. I had the poster on my wall of Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and I had Batman t-shirts and Batman paraphernalia for that movie release. So I really got into it then. But now it's just like all these rehashes. I do enjoy the ones with whatchamacallit, with Bale, Christian Bale, the Batman, the gritty ones that they did there, the Batman Begins. That movie was really badass. Like I love that realistic stuff to it. And maybe they did that in that style with this new one too. I've only seen previews and a couple of clips here and there, but it looks like it has that grittiness, that noir feel to the storyline and the feel of the movie, just like that the Christian Bale series. So yeah, it's always interesting. Batman is a great character, one of my favorite superheroes for sure. Let's see. Click saying Murray is playing tonight. He's a walk-in triple double. Yeah, this is going to be a huge problem, a big difference with when we played them before. That this kid is their best player, and now we're gonna have to deal with him. Try and contain him. Just try and stop him. Who's going to be guarding him? I don't know. It's going to have to be people like Gary Trent, probably. Gary's going to have to get the assignment on him mostly. Because if Fred's coming back from an injury and playing for the first time tonight, I don't want him chasing him around and stuff like that. So let Gary try and take care of him. And, maybe Yuta comes off the bench and chases him around a bit himself, stuff like that. Click saying we need to get on a win streak if we really want the 6th seed. But at this point, it's more likely that we're in the play-in. I want to keep the 7th seed. Yeah, this is something like that Cleveland game was a real kind of turning point with this whole idea of getting out of the play-in and getting into the 6th seed. It's going to be hard at this point. I mean, I'm looking at the standings, and the one thing we need to keep, and even though we're losing, we're still keeping our spot pretty right in the middle. Brooklyn's still 2 games behind us, but we are like 3.5 games behind the Cleveland Cavaliers at this point. But there's other teams that are sliding also. I hate to say it, the Bulls are on a major slide right now with DeMar. They've lost 5 in a row, and they're falling quickly. So that's an interesting thing that's going on in the top 6 right now. But, at this point, if we're going to cut our losses and say we're going to be in the play-in, then we definitely need to want to stay in the 7th and 8th spot. Because like I said before, you get in that 9 and 10, you lose one game, you're out. So if you stay in the 7 and 8, you can lose one game and still have to win the next game, and you can still stay in the first round. So that's a really big distinction, that if we're going to not get out of the play-in bracket, we might as well stay at the top of it. And that's very important. But yeah, it's looking like this. It's really going to be like we're going to really have to weather some losses and with our record, and hopefully we stay in a good playoff position, even though we get some losses. We're going to get some losses, y'all. I can't understand. I wish I could avoid this and say, yeah, if we came back out of the All-Star break strong and had been on a win streak right now, I'd be a whole other song and dance. But because we have struggled coming out and we haven't played well since the Denver game, I'm just going to have to say we're going to try and just stay where we are. Stay pat right where we are at number 7. If we can't move up to 6, we got to at least stay at 7. Kenrick saying the first 5 minutes will show how the refs will call the game. Very interesting. Kenrick watches for this just like I do. Yeah, you're going to be like watching to see. First of all, let's see who's there. The names, first of all, may tell us something right away. We see Ed Malloy. We see Tony Brothers. We see Mark Davis. We see any of these notorious motherfuckers, even that Zach guy, these are guys we're going to be looking out for now and seeing who's going to be the head ref, and how the tone of the refereeing may be right from the bat. Now, I don't know if we'll get any big names for this game, because I don't know if the NBA really gives a shit about who wins this game, honestly, because sometimes we see those big name refs in games where they care about who's going to win. Like when we see Mark Davis or Ed Malloy, it's usually the Celtics or the Sixers and shit like that. And there's a reason why they're there. So let's see who shows up first. And then, right, Kenrick's saying, let's see how they ref it in the first 5 minutes, and we'll see how it's going to go. Click 2AM saying, if we lose this game, we're in big trouble. Well, let's not over panic. Let's just take them one by one. If we lose like the next couple games still, we just reassess every morning after whatever happens the night before. And we say where we are in that position at this point and what we hope for and what we're striving for still. A losing team will just worry and just like, oh, we're losers, and we'll just keep losing and turning over and just letting people beat us. No, that's not who we are. We'll fight every single time, even if We are losing a lot, and we are on a lose streak. We got to come in like this is a new game with fresh slate, and we just got to go in and give our best effort and try as best as we can. Yeah. So I don't want to say even if we lose tonight that we're in big trouble, because in some ways we're already big trouble. But what is the trouble? And what point do we get paranoid and weird and stuff like that when we get to like maybe out of the playoffs? That's what I'm saying. We'll be in big trouble. Is if we fall all the way out and we're not even in the play-in. That's when I'll say we're in big trouble. Because even if we're in the play-in, you know what? People kind of just expected that for the Raptors to be in the or not even be in the playoffs. So being in the play-in, making any kind of noise, getting some playoff wins this year is going to be a success for the team. That's the way I'm looking at it and reassessing our goals and what will be a success for the Raptors for this season. It's going to the playoffs and maybe getting some victories in the playoffs, getting these guys a taste of playoff victories. And that would be real good. Raymond Jacobs saying, funny thing, I always thought Crooked, Tony Brothers, Scott Foster, etc. had a thing against the Raptors, but turns out every team hates them too. They suck all over. Yeah, you know what? It is true. We're biased, obviously, because we see it from our perspective and stuff like that. But other teams' fans hate these guys just as much. And they've done polls of which refs are hated by the players the most. And Tony Brothers is number one on that list. Tony Brothers is disliked by a huge percentage of the NBA. And that's why I say when Tony Brothers is out there, he's not necessarily anti-Raptor. He's just crazy. And he has a really big ego, and he likes to flex it in weird ways by like making big calls or putting attention on himself in different ways and stuff like that. That's why you hate Tony Brothers, because there's no rhyme or reason to him sometimes and stuff like that. Whereas like somebody like Scott Foster or Ed Malloy or Mark Davis, to me, they're like hitmen for the NBA, that they may actually come to a game and try and shape the game during the game to try and help the outcome go to a certain team. And quite often it is they are helping the team that's against the Raptors. And that happened in that Cleveland game even. Like there was help from the refs in the Cleveland game on Sunday, in the last game. It's just that we had so many things go wrong. I didn't even want to talk about the refs because they weren't a factor in it. Totally. They weren't the deciding factor, but they do shape the game as the game goes on. And we need to watch out for the stuff we've been pointing out all year is the referees' manipulation. And when they do that kind of stuff, we see it and we understand when it's happening and the way they do it. And then we become more observant, knowledgeable basketball fans knowing what is happening out there and how they do it. Monique, good morning. Always good to see Monique. Let's get this win, boys. Fred questionable. I really think he's going to play. He was in full participant in practice yesterday. He was dressed and looked good, and hopefully he just suits up and he's playing tonight. And maybe the injury report will change this afternoon and say he's probable, and or he just shows up and he plays tonight. I really hope so, because I want these guys to really not let Popovich get his coaching victory against us. That just pure and simple. Just do that, guys. Don't let Popovich get the all-time winningest regular season NBA wins for a coach against us. Oh, yeah. All right, Click to him saying 7th seed, we have a good chance to beat Brooklyn because they can't have Kyrie and T-Dot. Yeah. I'm not afraid of playing Brooklyn in the play-in or the playoffs. Everybody's saying, oh, you should be afraid. Ooh, be afraid. Ooh, Brooklyn. Ooh, very scary. But, it's like, listen, like what we've been saying, they're putting all these main ingredients to their team together for the first time ever. Like Ben Simmons, when he comes in there, it's not going to be a smooth fit in. Trust me. He's not going to come in there and this is going to be everything's hunky-dory and easy and stuff like that. It's not going to be like that. The man has not played all season. He has a lot of rust, and he's learning completely new teammates. He's not even coming from a point of start with the Sixers where it's like these guys you played with for a couple years now. These guys he has not played with. Anybody who thinks the Nets are a real chance to win the championship, you're fucking crazy. Because they do not. They're never historically a team that has done what the Nets have done in the recent months that has won a championship. That just doesn't happen. That's not how it works. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying, good morning, folks. Let's go. Tom, I did the real mascot matchup already. They're kind of evolving into becoming cliffhangers. Raptors. So they're just going to be cliffhanger stories. We got to see if they win or not to know the outcome of what happens. But right now, the Raptors getting a hand reached in by a cowboy on a steed, and he's trying to help him get out of the ditch. So let's see if that cowboy can be trusted or not. It's really a game of trust. The real mascot matchup now is about trusting whether you're going to win or not. So G saying, even if we fall out, I think we end up keeping our pick and San Antonio pick. Not that I want that at all. Playoff experience for youth is the key. Yeah. G, well, listen, I like that what you're saying is because you're making it a no-lose scenario. No matter what happens to Raptors, we have Masai Ujiri as our team president. So we're winning. We are winning. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. Right now, this is a development year. We need to always remember that. We've been winning. We got spoiled. We are so happy how much we won this year because that means we've been successful in development while we've been developing. And I love that you said that actually, G. We don't want them to not make the playoffs. We want them to get that experience you're saying. But if they don't, you're looking at the bright side. You're saying, well, we keep the pick and we get things happen this way in our favor. And that's the perfect way to act and think as a Raptor fan. No lose scenarios are the best way to you. Always win scenarios. You figure it out and you look at the bright side and you see where you're winning in it. And that may be that's what we have to look at if that happens. But I highly doubt what's going to happen where we fall completely out. Because it's going to be that we're going to have to lose every single game on this West Coast trip. And then we're going to have to lose more of our games on the other end of it for this to happen. And I don't think that will. Tom Duke saying Will Ferrell showed up at the Warriors game as Jackie Moon, one funny dude. That's from that with Tropics, that movie, the basketball movie he made that he has a character in and stuff like that. You know, Will Ferrell was really upset with his friend Adam McKay for not casting him in this Lakers show that's out now. This Lakers show on HBO or something. I don't know what it's on right now, but they have John C. Reilly playing Jerry Buss. And they got Magic, and they're doing a whole thing about Magic's rookie year. I read a review about that show. I haven't watched it myself, and they're really slandering it, tearing it up, saying that it's like, you know, how can you show Jerry Buss and Magic Johnson as these philanderers, but then also they're supposed to be these people we celebrate and we feel real good about? That's a real crossroads and a reckoning that people have to make about the Lakers. That if you're going to celebrate the Showtime era, you have to show all sides of it and show just how philanderous these guys were behind their loved ones and what they were doing on the road and all this kind of stuff. So it kind of doesn't fit real well. Plus, on the same side in the series, they make it real cheeky, kind of like an Adam McKay movie where they're kind of talking to the camera and they're doing little cute little things and shit like that. I'm hearing really bad reviews about that show right now. I haven't seen it myself, but I'd like to check it out. But I hear it's a little too cheeky, tongue-in-cheek, and maybe not serious enough about some of the serious issues in the movie, in the show. And they don't get anywhere with it. They don't even show like the first championship for Magic or the end of the year or anything. So it's like, what the fuck is this show? Really? I don't know. I'll have to watch it myself. But the first couple of reviews I read about it have not been good. I'm not going to lie. All right, let's see. Kenrick's saying we need to play a little faster, move the ball more. I hope if Fred shows up, we see more better offensive synergy because this is you're exactly right. We have not been moving the ball between our players enough, not enough assists, not enough synergy off of each other. And if we played with a little more pace, that probably would help things also, because once again, one of the problems is we're letting the defense set up when we're getting to the other end of the court, and we're not getting any advantage by the element of surprise. And we need more of an element of surprise in transition and stuff like that. That's why when these big guys get the ball and the rebound, they bring it right down the court like Precious and Scotty. That is kind of an element of surprise because they're bringing it right down. They're not stopping. They're attacking the basket all in one motion. And I like that. We should see more of that. I wish these guys would continue to get the rebound and just push the ball right up the court after they get the rebound. Don't outlet pass it. Bring it yourself and push it as fast as you can and attack the rim. Precious and Scotty. Oh, yeah. Sue's saying, good morning, everyone. Let's do this. Let's get another Raptor victory. It's been a little while. We want another victory. Let's get it tonight against the Spurs, a team that I love also. But it is a very important time where the Raptors need wins badly. So I'm sorry, Spurs. I can't root for you even the least tonight. We need to get the Raptors a W tonight. Click saying, I feel like because our team has won a lot this year, the expectations keep rising and become unrealistic. Just enjoy the season. We're competitive this year and going back into playoff mode. It really is like, listen, we should be feeling so grateful and lucky that it's true that we've had a competitive year. We haven't been stringing together a ton of L's like Detroit and Orlando and having this season where it just sucks. It's depressing because your record's so bad. There's no prospect of the playoffs and all this kind of stuff. That there's always a darker place to be. So we should be grateful in some ways as Raptor fans that this season has been a success and that we've gotten to enjoy a lot of really cool, awesome, close games and watch our new rookie in a badass way all year with different ways and stuff like that. So yeah, Click, that's the best perspective right there, that we did get unrealistic in some ways. And I know I'm guilty of it. On this channel every morning, I had pushed them. I always want to see the best level that they can get to. And if they can achieve that, that's great. But right now, they're not in the development stage where they can excel at that highest level and do it at that way yet, unless they have every single guy healthy and available. That's the only time. So yeah, Susan, I heard Fred is probably back today. That would be amazing. Yeah, he practiced yesterday. I think he will. I mean, honestly, it's got to be hard for Fred to sit on the bench and see them lose the way they've been losing lately and feel helpless sitting there in street clothes. He does not like that. He wants to be in there trying to help his team win. And I hope that he can do that tonight. Let's see what happens. Monique saying, if Chris goes off this game, he's been amazing. If you watch Raptors yesterday, Paul Jones, David Johnson should see more minutes with us. David Johnson, yeah, Paul Jones was saying David Johnson should see more minutes with us. I agree with that. David Johnson single-handedly won a 905 game the other day. Couple weeks ago with a buzzer beater. Really good stuff. He's been hurt, though, at least recently. He hasn't played in the 905 games recently. So that's why we haven't seen David Johnson. But there is some interesting things going on with this extra roster spot. Since DJ Wilson got waived, we now have Armani Brooks. He's sitting in that spot right now, but there's no guarantee for Armani Brooks either. It's going to be something like either we get somebody totally different, keep one of these guys we already had, or we convert Justin from a two-way player to a full roster player, and he gets on the team. Now, what they're doing right now is they're testing Justin Champagnie. They diverted him away from the main roster to go with the 905 on this road trip. So he's not even going to be available for any of these games out west. And part of that is this is what it is, guys. I'll tell you right now, is that you can only play guys a certain amount of times on the main roster. And it may be that Justin's near his fill for how many times he can play on the main roster Raptors. So he's flipped with Isaac Bonga at this time because Bonga's not played all of his minimum games that he can play on the main roster. So Justin is on the road trip right now with the 905 playing in that level, and Bonga's with the main roster. Well, this is testing Justin's like mettle as a pro. He has an ego and he's like, I'm a pro. I don't need to be on G League. And he wants to prove them wrong. And in a way, that's good. And what might happen is Justin needs to really kick ass in the 905 on the stint away from the main roster. And then maybe they'll look at him and they'll say, you know what, we're converting you from a two-way to a full roster player because you are showing that you want to be on this team and that you don't like being down here and that you're excelling down here. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing right now because it is very interesting that he's not with the main roster, but Isaac is. And I'm sure in his head that he's making this into something, a slight, and he's going to try and play big time. But the one thing is they lost their game the other night. So, Justin, make sure that the 905's winning while you're there also on guard because you are the man there right now. It's your team right now. It was Delano's for a little while earlier in the season. It was Isaac's for a little while. It was Reggie Perry's. It's been, different guys who've gone down there. It's Fees for one night. It was Yutas for one night. Well, right now it's your team, Justin. You're the leader of 905. Get them some victories so you can earn a converted two-way contract to a full contract. That's what I'm saying. And Chris tonight, I hope Chris goes off tonight. Chris is a really cool dude, and I just want him to have success. If he's starting again, I don't think he will. If Fred's back, he won't be starting. But we just need that energy off the bench, that good rebounding, that good, annoying for the other team as far as tying you up and trying to box out for rebounds and stuff like that. That's what Chris is doing right now. I really like it. Click's saying, despite the opinions of this team, excluding the Tampa season, this team has been in the playoffs for a decade. How many teams can say that? Not many, no. The San Antonio Spurs had a streak for a long, long time themselves. They missed out just recently in recent years again in the playoffs. So yeah, there's not many teams that are on that list. You're exactly right. And Tampa in a lot of ways shouldn't be counted. So it's an aberration. It's an asterisk. It's not at a home It's not a home season. And then also you have a pandemic that struck us in the middle of the season when we were getting some going. So you're exactly right. This is another bright side that we need to look at as far as with our franchise and our team and who we are, that we've been very lucky with winning for a long time and stuff like that. And we even got a championship during this time also. So G saying, do you think Reggie Perry will end up on the Raptors roster? He's been doing great in the 905. You know what? I really like this idea. And yes, he has been doing great. There's some things that Reggie does that are really good. Like he can shoot the three and he can dribble the ball up the court. He has ball handling skills and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe that is the move that happens where we bring him up and put him on our team as the guy in the extra roster spot. There is a chance for that. And I wouldn't be upset with it because I think Reggie Perry's played at a high level all year long. And in some ways, he kind of deserves it. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. You can keep Justin as a two-way. He just doesn't, he's not going to be available for the playoffs. It's really going to be who the Raptors want to get a taste of the playoffs with. Who are they investing in for next year that they want to continue with us? Because that's going to be who's going to be on our playoff roster that gets called up and becomes a full member in that extra spot. So we'll see. But I love the idea of Reggie Perry, honestly. G saying Detroit beat us, Cavs and Hawks recently, so we can no longer feel so bad. Yeah, the Detroit has been beating everybody lately. They're hot after the break. And that's the same thing with other teams. Orlando's played way better since the break also. This is what we have to understand. Teams have a hot and cold periods of the season, and Detroit is on a hot streak right now. They're beating everybody up, and good for them. Good for them. Let's see. Monique saying, you're not the only one about Reggie Perry. He should be. I agree with this. Guys, you know what, Monique? We are on the same fence. I'm a big fan of Reggie Perry. I want him to make the Raptors. I want him to be on our team next year. Like this year on the 905 has been great. And he looks like a good fit. Let's give him a shot this year coming up. I want Reggie Perry to stick around with the Raptors and end up on our full roster at some point. Yeah. G saying, yeah, right, Mo. He's been scoring, rebounding, just a nice overall game. And he's consistent. This is the thing I love about him is that when you see him out on the court in G League, you can pretty much pencil him in for around 18 to 25 points and 10 rebounds. That you are going to get that from Reggie Perry night in, night out. And he's had some monster games in the middle of there too, like 40-point games with 20 rebounds, stuff like that. But the thing I'm saying is he's been consistent the whole G League season. Right from the start, and he's done really, really well. We can count on him, and that's what I like about him. It's like we these bench guys right now. Do you think we could count on Reggie Perry maybe to produce a little bit more than some of the bench guys that are on the main roster right now? So I think he should get a shot. I think that three of us are in agreement, and hopefully this happens. Click saying, I want to see Brooks and Justin play. I want to see Brooks do more too. We didn't get to see anything from him in the last game. I want to see him shoot. I want to see if he can drain some threes real quick for us. Let Brooks have some shots in this game tonight. I want to see if he's worth keeping around because we didn't really get to see anything about him yet. No. Kareem saying, pack your briefcase. We're going on a business trip. I love that, Kareem. And then Tom Duke's got the bags playing. Yes, that's what these guys are saying this year is they're collecting cities. Delano's all about collecting cities. He's going city to city, and now he's going back out west. He's going to collect some more cities. Phoenix, Denver, Los Angeles. Yeah, this is a business trip. This is not a pleasure trip. This is a very serious trip to salvage this Raptor team from this losing skid that we're on right now. And some signs point to good things because, listen, we played 5 games. The last 5 games, we won 2 games against Brooklyn in the last 5 games. That's 2 out of 5 games. Well, San Antonio's only won 1 out of 5 games recently, and that was against the Lakers the other night. They beat the Lakers, and they haven't won. They've lost 4 games in a row before that. So they have been losing games also, and they lost to the Kings in one of those games too. So we need to make sure we beat them because everybody else has been beating them. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. Monique saying, Lex, check out Yahoo Sports Canada YouTube interview with Justin Champagny. Yes, I saw that they did an interview with Justin yesterday. I have not watched it. I will watch it today, Monique, on your recommendation. All right, y'all, let me get done. We're right at just over half an hour and stuff like that. there's your preview for the San Antonio Spurs tonight. In San Antonio, it's the Raptors, baby. And hopefully we can get back to winning games. Scotty, be great. We want to see you have a continued good games because you're in that rookie race, baby. And we need you to excel and do something good. Really huge stuff. Like if you got a 50-point game before the end of the season, Scotty, I think that would go real well on your rookie of the year resume to maybe possibly getting it. So think about that. Hopefully Fred's back tonight. Hopefully these guys play more together, more with better pace and passing, playing off of each other with screens, give and goes, whatever. I love the stuff between Pascal and Scotty. I want to see more of this passing back and forth between them because they're both good passers and good scorers. There should be a lot of good positive outcomes from them passing the ball between each other. So Pascal, Scotty, look for each other and pass off of each other and get the score off each other because you get an easier shot. And hopefully Gary continues to show that he's making his shot more and more consistently once again. We saw that in the second half against Cleveland that he's starting to hit his shot again. And sometimes that is how it works with these shooters is they start to show signs of life and they start going more and more in that direction. So let's hope for that also. And the bigs, just play big and keep Pirtle off the boards. Keep Pirtle away from the basket. We don't need Pirtle to get a bunch of points. He can get rebounds. He's going to get the rebounds. But let's keep him off the scoring tonight. Yeah. And just really get to the nice youngsters on their team. This is the thing. Listen to this for the stat. This will blow y'all's mind. The third oldest player on this Spurs team is Jakob Pirtle at 26. So this team is super young now. After the deals they made recently, they're even younger than the last time we saw them. So we need to take advantage of their inexperience and be the more experienced veteran team tonight. All right, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Please hit the red button. I'm on my quest to 1,000. And I'll be back tomorrow with the reaction. Hopefully it's a reaction to a Raptor win. We need one bad, and we don't want to be Coach Popovich's historic coaching victim to make his record. Yeah, we don't want to be that. Let them go and do that to the next opponent, not us. We don't need to be that team. We don't want to take that ticket. We want to win tonight and stop this losing streak and get some wins on this road trip. I still want to get 3 wins on this road trip. We have 5 chances to get 3 wins. And tonight, let's get the first one tonight. All right, y'all. Have a great Wednesday. Enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully we enjoy a good Raptor victory. All right, take care. Let's go Raptors! Woo! Woo! Yeah!